Hello, and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about one of the most powerful forces that shapes, well, pretty much our entire digital world, the network effect. It's this invisible engine behind all the tech giants. But as you'll see, its power doesn't just come from being big. In fact, the real key to the network effect is something way more subtle and interesting than just sheer size.
So here's the plan. We'll kick things off with a basic definition, and then we're going to bust a major myth about network size. After that, we'll see it all in action with two titans, Facebook and WhatsApp, before we wrap everything up with the good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay, let's get into it.
So first things first, what exactly is this network effect? It's one of those ideas that sounds pretty simple on the surface, but trust me, it has these incredibly deep implications for business, for technology, and even for our own social lives.
Let me just start by asking you a question. Why are you really on a platform like WhatsApp or Facebook? I mean, is it because the app itself is just this beautiful piece of software, or is there something else going on? Just think about it for a second. The answer is probably pretty simple. It's because that's where your friends and family are. And that right there, that brings us to the absolute core of the idea. Just like Christopher S. Hughes says here, the value of a product or service goes up as more people use it. This isn't really about the tech. It's about the community that grows around it.
So here's the formal definition. The classic example everyone uses is the telephone. Think about it. One telephone is completely useless, right? It's a paperweight. Two telephones, okay, now you've got one connection. But a million telephones? Now you have a huge network of potential conversations, and that makes every single phone so much more valuable. That is the network effect in a nutshell.
Okay, now this is where things get really interesting. We've just said that more users equals more value. So bigger is always better, right? Well, as we're about to find out, the answer is a big fat no. You see, the popular belief is wrapped up in something called Metcalfe's law. Now, to put it simply, this law says the value of a network grows exponentially every time a new user joins. So if you double the users, you don't just double the value, you actually quadruple it. It's a really powerful idea, and it's the story that a lot of these tech giants absolutely love to tell.
But let's really put that idea to the test. Facebook has over 3 billion users. So does the platform really become more valuable to you personally because some person you will never meet in a country you might never visit just signed up? Do you actually care about connecting with all 3.35 billion of those people? Probably not. And this image, this visual here, it just perfectly shows the reality. Instead of being one giant, tangled, interconnected web, many of these networks, Facebook included, look a lot more like that Uber map on the right. It's a bunch of dense, local clusters that are, maybe weakly connected to each other, but mostly separate. And this is the key takeaway. This illustrates the truth of it. Your experience and the value you get from a network doesn't come from the whole thing. It comes from your local network. Research shows the average Facebook user has around 150 friends, which lines up with Dunbar's number, about stable social groups. And they only actively message like 4 to 6 people a week. That tiny cluster is what really matters. And this reality actually makes these giants pretty vulnerable. The same clustering that makes Facebook valuable to us also creates weak spots. Then there's multi-homing. That's just a fancy way of saying we all use a bunch of different apps so we're not locked in. Or negative congestion. When your feed is just full of junk and ads, that actually reduces the value. And all of this lets niche competitors come in and pick off specific clusters by serving them better. I mean, look at TikTok. They built a massive empire by focusing on short-form video, a niche that Facebook and Instagram just weren't paying enough attention to.
Okay, so let's take this more, nuanced understanding and apply it to our two big case studies. How did Facebook and WhatsApp become masters of the network effect, and how are their game plans actually pretty different?
Facebook's early days were an absolute masterclass in using local network effects. They didn't just launch to the entire world. No, they started with one super dense, super influential cluster, Harvard. Then they moved methodically to other top universities, conquering one little cluster at a time. By the time they finally opened the doors to the public, they already had this incredibly strong foundation of deeply connected local networks.
And then you have WhatsApp. And to really get a sense of its scale, just look at this number, 150 billion. That's the projected number of messages sent on WhatsApp every single day. It's not just an app anymore. It's a global utility, almost as essential as water or electricity for a lot of people. And this table here, it just lays out the contrast perfectly. Facebook is a clustered social directory.
It grew by targeting specific, prestigious groups, and its value is in the newsfeed. WhatsApp, on the other hand, is a communication utility. Its genius was that it was totally frictionless. It just used your phone's contact list to build a network for you, which created this amazing viral growth. Two totally different strategies, both leveraging different sides of the network effect.
All right, for our final section, let's pull all of this together. What are the big takeaways? What are the two sides of this really powerful coin?
So on one hand, yeah, network effects create incredible value. They build these massive competitive moats around businesses, they create whole ecosystems of apps and content, and they drive crazy fast adoption. But there's always a flip side, right? They can lead to monopolies. They can kill innovation once a winner is crowned. They can suffer from that negative congestion we talked about, and they create these huge barriers that make it almost impossible for new companies to compete.
And that really brings us to the main point of this whole explainer. The network effect is, without a doubt, incredibly powerful. It creates giants. But their real strength, their actual defensibility, comes from the structure of those connections, those dense, valuable local clusters, not just from some vanity metric like the total number of users.
So I'll just leave you with this final thought. If the value of these gigantic platforms really just boils down to that small, tight-knit group of people that you actually care about, what's really stopping all of you from just picking up and moving somewhere else together? It might be a lot less than you think.